All right. Hello, everyone. So yeah, I think this talk has been a product of a lot of conversations that I've had with Thomas Chalkin. So shout out to Thomas Chalkin for um, getting me to read Aristotle. Um, I probably would have never decided to read Aristotle, but it's kind of nice. You can in some sense start with the basics again. Um, but there is something about the basics, you could say, that seem to be missed. So, because I've been particularly paying attention to Aristotle in the sense of his uses of privation, lack, you could say, and how he talks about certain things, actual and potential, and all that. Um, but I was recently thinking that there's something about it. Aristotle basically says that privation is a cause or can be a cause. Um, So that means that lack can be the cause of something. It can be a cause. But then Aristotle gives this definition in what is it, Book 5, Chapter 4, of what necessary means. And I've always been thinking about optimization culture. You could say self-help culture, everything like this. But it started making me think that the way he defines what is necessity is almost in the sense of a compulsory and compulsion. So it's a compulsion, and you could say when we experience lack, regardless of whether we interpret it as nothing or something, um, yeah, regardless of whether we take lack as nothing, I think there's enough argument in Aristotle's definition of necessity to say that lack itself is a kind of drive, is a kind of compulsion, uh, that puts us in something, a special kind of compulsion. And then he goes, and then his further elaboration on compulsion is that the necessary is painful. And I think that's a very perfect elaboration of the necessary is painful, because I think in many ways lack, whether we mistake it as nothing or not, um, can is painful. It entails a sort of suffering to it. You could say the ironic situation that we're in with lack is that lack allows for it to be taken always as overcome. Um, Basically, the compulsion within lack is the fact that there is always lack. There's only provisional or temporary appeasement. For example, I eat food, but then I get hungry again. I need water. I feel full, and then I need to eat again or and drink again. So you could say lack is this kind of compulsion that is constantly driving um, a certain appetite. The other thing is that because lack can be, as a necessity, a kind of compulsion. It can tempt us to think that we fundamentally always close the gap on lack, but it's precisely because lack is a kind of compulsion that we cannot close the gap. It's a necessity. The gap needs to be there, and so it, in some sense, drives us as human beings. Um, but yeah, you could say the very idea of an optimization culture is the fact that optimization is possible precisely because lack is a compulsion, right? It can keep um, allowing itself to be as a necessity. So yeah, I mean, there's just thoughts on that, but I will leave it there for just thoughts.